Hey, I had a small red day today, and I'm quite happy with the day. Isn't that crazy? Hey, fellow traders, it's Black Coffee Trader coming at you here on a Thursday, April the 24th. And this market just bled higher today, higher and higher and higher. And we went through a level in the NASDAQ that I thought would be somewhat difficult. This area between the 19,200s and the 19,400s I thought would be a little bit difficult, and here's why. If you go back on, well, I'm on the 15-minute chart, but maybe it makes more sense if I zoom out on the 30-minute. Let's see if we can get this thing to load up here real quickly, and we'll explain the thesis here today. Come on, computer. There we go. So you can kind of see this was this massive mega move to the upside we had on that the Trump tariff news and some of the changes, that big day we had back here on April the 9th. This high, I felt like, was something that I've been watching for quite some time. That high, these couple of highs, and really yesterday's high of day, I've really felt like if we can get over this, and really, I really have wanted to get this market up above this high from April the 9th, this 400, call it, well, 19,380s. But I felt like this was going to be difficult to get through. And if we get through it, we've got a lot of opportunity for upside. Well, we kind of got through it today, but we didn't hold above it. But that really was kind of the grind session for today, if you will, just grinding through that on the NASDAQ. I only took 2 trades on the NAS. And that was actually, you know what, I'm just going to, well, we'll run through the trades themselves. That might be simpler. Let's look at ES. I'll give you a brief synopsis. The two really nice trades I took today, I actually took 8 trades, 2 winners and 6 losers. Very low win rate, but that's kind of normal with my trading style. And we, survived with a $44 red day. 2 of the accounts red, 4 of the accounts green, even though these were just slightly green. But anyway, caught a really nice trade early morning off this break and retest of the 5440, I should say. Beautiful trade. We'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. And then I caught a really nice long trade here at the end of day. And again, this white line is something I entered in intraday, and we'll talk about that in more detail. So really, this ES was the spot for me today, and I did quite well with it. So yeah, let's dive into TradeZilla, and we can look at a few things. So here's today, $44 loss, 25% win rate, but 2.85. So my average winning trade was 214 today. The average loser was 75 bucks. I really had only 1 full loss today. The other losses were quite small, and that really helps this average win to loss rate. And then obviously the winners were both, in that 200 range. So definitely happy with that. I did chart this day that this is still not correct. I just put this in manually. I had a $661 day. I'll show you that day from Tuesday. I did take a screenshot. If I can get it pulled up here. This was the day. Each account was up, right around $100 or so. So I just put this in so that my TradeZilla is correct. I'm still working with NinjaTrader to try to get this resolved so I can get the proper trades entered in here. But we can see on the week, we're down 400 bucks. I actually misspoke yesterday. I wasn't down quite as far as I thought yesterday on the week, but down 400, and on the month, we're still down a couple $1,000. I think on Apex, I might be up. I had those Tradeify accounts early in the month that we lost. Yeah, on Apex, we're break even. We're slightly green, but we're basically break even on Apex. So if I look at all the accounts, which include the Tradeify ones that I lost early in the month, we're down by a couple $1,000. So anyway, now let's dive into the details. That's what's always interesting. So 8 trades today. First trade was a long trade I took on gold, and there's something to talk about here. Looking for a hold of 33.26 in yesterday's high of day, no go. I'm starting to see this pattern in gold recently. I love if-then statements when we're talking about trading. If the pre-market trend is bearish, then long setups seem to fail, and that was exactly the case this morning. I love this setup. I had a level charted here. Look at these wicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had about 10 minutes of hold here, and that really looked like just a turn and a push up. However, we had a pre-market push to the downside, and this ended up failing on me. And the other thing that I noticed, and let's just go to gold and we'll take a look at this, and I want to just explain. Actually, it's going to be right here. You can see it. I took this level off. I took me out here, dipped below yesterday's high of day, and then we really went on an uptrend. After that trade failed, and I realized that, I've seen this pattern before. If the pre-market, and it's been kind of recent, but if that pre-market fails or is a downtrend, the long setups just don't seem to hold in the morning session. The other thing that I decided to do, I had quite a few levels on gold, and I went out to the 4-hour chart and I went to the 30-minute chart, and I recharted. I basically stripped the levels that I had and recharted. And really, the thing I need to do, I believe, on gold is I need to get the key areas. I was really too in the weeds on some of these areas, on some of these levels that I had drawn in. And I think I'll do better if I kind of zoom out and look for the big holds and maybe take some bigger, increase my stop loss, maybe, lower my size and only going with one contract, but, give myself some wiggle room and then look for a bigger move, which is kind of more my style anyway. And so I've just kind of recharted a little bit on gold, and I took that trade right in here. And you can see that yesterday's high of day was kind of a hold area, but this really is kind of a no trade area, really. We really need to break back above here, I think, for me to take longs on gold, or we need to fall below this 3,500, this high area from back here, April 10, 11, and 12. So I think from the gold setups going forward, I'm going to just try to basically call this kind of a no trade zone, so to speak, and really look for longs above this up into this all-time high, or if we fall below here, look for shorts down below. And maybe, long setups down to this level here. So I think just it kind of reset my brain a little bit on the gold trade. So getting back to TradeZella, let's look at the next trade, which was that ES one, and this was just an awesome trade, absolutely bomber of a trade. Little bit over 2R, 2.25R, break and retest of 54.40, which is yesterday's afternoon rejection point and a key support resistance flip area over the last 10 days. I want to show that to you. Very, very nice trade. It seems like I'm trading the break and retest setups far better than the key level trades. And I have noticed that. And look at the entry. We pushed up this morning. We broke this cleanly, and then we started to wick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th wick, and I took the long. We really had about 4 to 10 minutes of holds there. It's just man, if I'm looking for that, I've got to take that trade. I've absolutely got to take that trade, which we obviously did, and it ended up being a beautiful, beautiful long trade. And you can kind of see right here. You can see the entry, you can see the wicks. I entered on that fifth wick as we were pushing higher, and just started to scale off profits on the way up. Took my last one off as we started to see this pullback. This was also an area, I think, on the NAS right at that point in time. We were bumping our head on this yesterday's high of day. Let's check the times here. So this was at 10:40, and at 10:40 on the NAS, yep, see right here, we were starting to bump our head on yesterday's high of day, and that started to get into this little chop and slow grind high zone on the NASDAQ. So when I saw this starting to reject, that was my cue to kill that trade, take my profit, and walk away. And we walked out of there with a really, really nice trade. So I'm very, very happy with that. I'm happy that I caught a couple of really nice trades today. The thing I need to do is I need to stop manufacturing some setups that I take during the day. And I think it would serve me a little bit better. So we'll keep working on that. Moving on, there are a few winning loss trades, if you will, today. And I think, okay, the next one here was not a good trade. This is just simply a whoopsie, a YM trade. So I took a break and retest of 40,040. I should not have taken this setup because NQ was starting to reject at a key level at this time. Actually, let's just jump into YM and I'll show you that trade. So that's right here. So you can see as we broke above this and we were starting to hold, I took that trade long and it just completely failed. And that was a losing trade on these bottom accounts. And that's really was the last trade I believe I took. And I just said, I'm not going to keep trading these. These are the accounts that I've had the worst luck with this week. I had these up to like 50,500 or 600 or something like that. And now we're down to, 49.8 something. So I gave some money back on these accounts, and I am determined to get them back up and get them into profits. But anyway, so take a look at this. The entry here was at 11.16. Go to the NAS. On the NAS at 1116, notice right there we were starting to see this rejection come in. The previous trade where I took profit on the ES long was right here on the NAS, and on this specific trade on YM, I saw this, but I wasn't trading with my full brain and force, I guess, and I should have noticed that this rejection's coming in to just wait a little bit. And of course I didn't, and this ended up, pulling back, and then obviously I got stopped out on my YM trade. So that was that. Let's go back to here and the trade. The next one I do want to talk about. I'm not going to talk through all of these, but let me take this one, the middle one. This was I took 3 short trades, or 3 loss trades that were extremely small losses, basically break even because of commissions. Second entry on the 19,187 and yesterday's high of day rejection. Another good setup, 20 points in profit in reverse, stopped out, break even. Bulls are not letting this drop, a good loss. So if you notice, I don't know if you can see it right here, see how we had this rejection of the 50, or whatever, this is the 19,187s on the NASDAQ, and also the yesterday high of day, that's that purple line. We rejected both of those. I took this short. We got about 22 points in profit, which, activates my break even. My movement stopped to break even, and we just reversed. Boom, took me out break even, no big deal. We again, this was my second entry, rejected the 187 very, very, very cleanly and started to break through again. This looked like a bearish setup. And I took it, and again, this went about 20 points or so, and I moved my stop. This, I have this set on ATM. If I move about 20 points on the NAS, it moves my stop to break even. And again, it took me out, and I would rather have that. And this is a good loss because this ended up going the other way. The setup was there, but I really, I can handle this so much better, and it doesn't put me on tilt if I have this set up to where I'm in profit by a ways, move my stop to break even, it rejects back and takes me out and does whatever. I can handle that. Even if it takes me out and then it doesn't fully fail and the move happens, I can stomach that loss 10 times better than I can stomach if I leave my stop here and I'm in profit by 20 points and then it hits me and then it goes the other way. Yeah, that's not a good recipe for me. So I think that's important. There's a lesson there. What works for you, what triggers you, and those are the things that we need to pay attention to. So let's go to the NASDAQ, and I'll show you these trades right here. So there we can see the first one break even, and this one here, the second one. And obviously, we chopped around quite a bit here, but we ultimately end up bleeding higher. When I noticed that the bulls weren't letting this thing drop, that was kind of what set up some of the trades then later on in the day. I was gone for, a little while over the lunch hour. I took a little bit of a long lunch break today. And so I missed a little opportunity here. This was a really nice break and retest long opportunity here on the NASDAQ. So was this one of the 19,000, the 187 to the 200s, you could almost call it. But anyway, let's go back to TradeZilla, and I want to show you a couple more trades. These break-even trades, we'll leave those. I did have another losing trade here that I want to show you. This one as well here. This was, actually, I should show you the one previously. I really should show you this trade first. This was one where I stopped out break even after holding this trade for quite some time. Excuse me, break and retest of the 5,500 and yesterday's high of day, taking it long. Again, remember that the bulls weren't letting the NASDAQ drop, and so I took this thing long. This was an okay setup and an okay trade. I could have closed for 100 in profit, but because of the market conditions, I was looking for a bigger move or a break even stop out, which is what happened. I got out on the big pullback. I was very okay with this stop out because I had followed my plan again. So we were, chopping back and forth here, and this looked like a break and retest of the yesterday's high of day and the 5,500 on the ES futures. And it simply just, I decided if this thing moves in my favor, I'm just going to allow my stop to go to break even, and I'm just going to hold. I'm not taking profits. I actually ended up moving this profit target up to like 22 points in profit, and I said I'm just going to hold. And what ultimately happened is I ended up getting stopped out break even. That was on, nope, what is that? Right here. So that's these top accounts. So you notice I was in this trade for actually 45 minutes. got in the trade, had to sit through this drawdown. We pushed all the way up, pushed all the way up, pushed all the way up. And again, I could have just closed this and got out with $100 or so, but I had said, I'm going to wait until we really get to this high, or I'm not going to take profit. Well, this big move down happened, took me out. That sets up the next trade, and I was quite okay with this. I was okay with this. My plan was I'm either getting stopped out break even or this thing's going to run. So that sets up the table for this next trade, which we were just talking about. I hope I'm not going too fast for you here, but this was the break and retest of 5,500 and yesterday's high of day. I chased this entry and flipped my bias on this entry, which is something I'm trying to quit doing. If you follow my channel, you've noticed that's something that sometimes bites me when, you know, I was thinking longs, I was looking for long setups. On this move back down, when we kind of retested this little wick here and this flush happened, I just chased it like a dog chasing a stupid bone. And, you know, just a fail. That not a good trade. And again, it's just something I have to stop doing. I have to stop trying to flip my bias on a minute move, so to speak, on these market trends. So that sets up now the last trade, which was a very good trade. I'm very happy with it. About a 1.4 R, so it was a good trade. After the last trade, I noticed the intraday hold area and took this trade long. I started noticing this little hold area right here and took this long because we again were above this 5,500 area. Yesterday's high of day, the purple line, 5,500. Notice these wicks. I took this thing long. After I looked at the charts, after I was in the trade, I looked at the charts more and I really saw the 54.87 hold, and it really gave me confidence to hold this trade. Ended up with a really nice trade, caught the big pop end of the day. Great last trade. So let me dive into the charts here, and I want to show you that. So notice this white line. You didn't see that earlier. After I got into this, well, I was noticing this. I was noticing this hold. I was noticing this hold. And I was also noticing on the NASDAQ that we were starting to have a little hold area right here. Notice support turned, or resistance turned into support, so to speak. And so that's why I entered this. And I said, you know what? I'm going to enter it because we're not breaking down. I'm going to hold for some move up at the end of the day. And if I'm wrong, I'm just wrong. You know, and here's my loss was, my stop loss was actually somewhere down here when I got into the trade, but actually ended up moving it up. So took my first profit target here, got out at $50, which I think that's 10 points on my setup here on the ES. And then I just held. I held through all this chop, and this really felt like a rubber band, and it really was. And this thing popped, and I got my full profit target up here at the top. And this was what I was shooting for in this other trade. So again, it's better for me to get out break even, not take a loss. This was the stupid trade. This was the stupid chase the short here. But this was an okay trade. Go out break even and then find a better entry and take that for a $175 winner here at the end of the day. So that was really, really good. And I also want to point out this line. So after I was in this trade, I started looking at the big picture on ES and notice that here we had a high back here on April the 10th. We also had a bit of a high, you could almost argue this one right here, but this area right here, this high in the morning session on April the 13th, you had a couple of them right here, and then you had this intraday hold. And notice how clean that was right here in the morning. This was resistance. We flipped it to support, 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 support again. And had I noticed that earlier in the day, things might have been a little bit different, and I definitely would not have chased this short trade right here. So that was just, I'm getting better at this, but this is something I really want to work on, of looking at this intraday and seeing if you see these patterns forming, does it line up with something big picture to the left on the charts to see if it makes sense, and then set up a trade idea around that. So I'm really happy with the execution there. And again, I'm happy, even though I had a $44 red day, I'm really happy with the day. I am determined. I am determined to get these accounts, all of these actually, but really right here, I want to get these accounts to pay out. I've had these for quite some time. Matter of fact, let's just look. I want to say it's been like, I don't know, 60 days or so. No, these top ones are like 70 some days. These middle accounts I've had for 32, 29 trading days. So that's, you know, getting close to 2 months of trading. And I really want to get these things up into payout. I mean, we're 800 in profit and 500, so we've still got quite a ways to go. But nevertheless, you know, I want to get them. I want to get them to the finish line and take some money out. So on that note, you can see there's that 90% off sale banner is up right now. That ends tonight at midnight. So if you need Apex accounts, take advantage of that 90% off sale. That it does not get better than 90% off. That is awesome. Cheap way to load up on some accounts. So I just want to remind you of that and say thank you to those of you that use code BCT with Apex. Take Profit Trader, TradeZella. There's also an affordable indicators link, as you can see there. But anyway, appreciate you guys supporting the channel in that way. And thanks for following along. Appreciate you all. Thanks for following me on my trading journey. Hope you had a great day. Have a good day tomorrow. It's Friday. Let's not screw it up. Let's not end the week on a negative note. So I'm going to try to follow my own little mantra there and try to be careful tomorrow and end up on a positive note. So take care. Until next time, so long.